You use AI to think faster, to write better, to solve problems in seconds. And honestly, it works. But here's the part nobody's talking about. Every time AI thinks for you, your brain quietly gets a little worse at doing it itself. Not dramatically, not overnight, just slowly, invisibly, and consistently. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what happens inside your brain when you outsource your thinking to AI, why it feels so good in the moment, what it's actually costing you long-term, and the simple shift that lets you use AI without losing your mind in the process. Because the goal isn't to stop using AI. The goal is to stay the one driving. Let's start with something your brain has been doing your entire life. So quietly, you probably never noticed it happening. Your brain is constantly making decisions about what to keep and what to throw away. Every skill you practice gets stronger. Every skill you ignore gets weaker. This isn't a metaphor, it's biology. Neuroscientists call it synaptic pruning. Your brain physically removes connections it doesn't think you need anymore, and it builds stronger, thicker, faster connections for the things you do use regularly. That ability to rewire based on repetition is neuroplasticity. It's the reason a violinist's brain can look different from a non-musician's brain on a scan. Now, here's where this gets interesting. Your brain doesn't know the reason you're not using a skill. It doesn't know you stopped writing your own emails because AI does it cleaner. It doesn't know you stopped planning because AI feels faster. It only sees one thing. This skill isn't being used, so it starts quietly, methodically, dismantling it. We've seen this with GPS. When you navigate using landmarks and mental maps, your hippocampus works harder. That's the brain region linked to navigation and spatial memory. There's research on London taxi drivers, people who memorize huge city layouts. They show measurable differences in that navigation system. But when people rely on GPS for everything, that advantage shrinks. The brain stops investing in something it no longer needs to do. AI is GPS, but for your thinking. So, if outsourcing thinking to AI is quietly making us weaker, why does it feel so good? Because your brain has two modes, fast mode and slow mode. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman called them System 1 and System 2. System 1 is quick, automatic, effortless. It recognizes a face, reads familiar words, reacts instantly. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and tiring. It's what you use when you write a difficult email from scratch, when you work through a confusing decision, when you do real problem solving. System 2 burns energy, creates friction, and your brain hates friction. Here's the key word: unnecessary. Your brain is wired to conserve energy. That was a survival advantage for most of human history. So we evolved to take shortcuts whenever we could. AI is the ultimate shortcut machine, and your brain loves it the way it loves sugar, immediately, instinctively, without thinking about later. Let me make this real. You open a blank email. You feel that tiny resistance. You could think, you could write, you could struggle a little, or you can paste the situation into AI and get a perfect message in seconds. And the moment you do, you feel relief. That relief is the hook, because relief feels like productivity. So you do it again, and each time your tolerance for the friction of independent thinking drops a little lower. Psychologists call this cognitive offloading, and the long-term implications are bigger than most people realize. Let's get specific, because this isn't just about emails or navigation. First, you lose your ability to sit with uncertainty. Real thinking is uncomfortable. You don't know where you're going at the start. You get confused in the middle. You hold competing ideas. You backtrack. And then if you stay with it, something clicks. That click is insight. That click is learning. That click is your brain building something new. AI skips the messy middle. It gives you the destination without the journey, but the journey was the part that was training your mind. Second, your critical thinking gets weaker. When an answer arrives fully formed, confident, well-structured, your brain tends to accept it. There's a bias called authority bias. We trust what sounds authoritative. AI sounds extremely authoritative, so we read it, we nod, we copy-paste, and we stop asking questions like, is this actually right? What's missing? What's the counter-argument? What's the context? That skeptical evaluation muscle can slowly atrophy. Third, and this is the most personal, you lose your voice. Your voice is built through bad first drafts, through awkward sentences, through rewriting, through learning what you really mean, through trying again. That struggle is where style comes from. That struggle is where originality comes from. But when AI writes from the start, you skip the phase where your brain discovers what it actually thinks. So you produce more, but you don't develop. And after a while, something strange happens. You start to feel slightly disconnected from what you post. Like it's good, but it's not fully you. Because you didn't arrive there. You received it. Now, here's the part I actually want you to walk away with. Because this video isn't an argument against AI. AI is extraordinary. The goal isn't to avoid it. The goal is to use it in a way that makes you more capable, not less. Think of AI like a personal trainer at the gym. A good trainer helps you, fixes your form, gives you a program, pushes you when you're stuck. But if the trainer lifts the weights for you, you go home no stronger, possibly weaker, because your muscles didn't even have to fire. So here's the framework, the 70-30 principle. 70% of the thinking, your own. You draft first, you wrestle first, you form an opinion first, even if it's messy, even if it's wrong, you start. Then you bring in AI, not to replace your thinking, to pressure test it, to find gaps, to sharpen the edges. The remaining 30% is where AI earns its keep. Formatting, research, finding counterarguments you missed, checking logic, generating alternatives you can evaluate using your judgment. And the order matters. AI first means AI thinks. You first means you think and AI helps. That single change in sequence is the difference between using a tool and becoming dependent on one. There's also one more idea that matters: intentional friction. Deliberately doing things the hard way sometimes. Writing one first draft with no AI. Solving a problem with pen and paper before opening a chat window. Navigating somewhere new without GPS. Not because these methods are better, but because the struggle is the training, the friction is the gym. A little discomfort now is the reason you'll still be sharp in 20 years. So here's the truth, the one we started chasing at the beginning. AI isn't making you think faster. It's removing the part where your brain learns. And your brain, being efficient, is happy to let it. Not dramatically, not overnight, but slowly, invisibly, consistently. The skill fades if you stop using it. But now you know what's actually happening, and that changes everything. You can use AI and keep your edge. You just have to stay in the driver's seat. If you're the kind of person who wants to understand what's actually happening in your mind, not just on the surface, but underneath, you're exactly where you should be. Welcome to Science Simplify. Stay curious. Think for yourself. I'll see you in the next one.